It is Tuesday, April 22nd, and trade deals are incoming. The Trump administration confirming this morning they've finalized terms with India. Prime Minister Modi meeting with J.D. Vance, saying we're not only on the same page, but if we do this right, we'll have more trade for India and the U.S., and China will be iced out. Also, Dems changing with the times, realizing the political winds have shifted, now openly admitting they screwed up on immigration and agreeing with the president. What do you know? Saying we need to lock down the southern border. We're going to show you that. Yet, too little, too late. And Democrat-run cities and states now choosing to drop cases of these Tesla arson and vandalism cases. Cases with clear-cut evidence being dropped, inciting more violence against innocent Tesla drivers, and more stories as well from around the country. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. The Trump administration moving full steam ahead in their plan to rebalance trade relationships around the globe, remove the decades of unfair trade policies that allow foreign companies to sell their products to us for free, but don't allow our companies to sell to them. The panicking class, panicking for the last 2 weeks, constant shrieking from the media about Trump destroying the economy, and all for nothing, they say, claiming these trade deals will be nothing more than press releases. For 40 years, these people sold us out, sold our country out, sold out the middle class, stripped rural America for parts, selling us out to China, and finally, someone's trying to fix it. Enough is enough. Trump's trade team meeting with India, hammering out the details of what is likely to become one of the most beneficial and profitable arrangements in a century. The one country that can actually replace China, a country without expansionist interests, and likewise views the CCP very similarly to us, a threat. J.D. Vance meeting with Prime Minister Modi, announcing they've finalized the terms for a zero-to-zero trade agreement, saying we're formally announcing that America and India have finalized the terms of reference for trade negotiations, setting the roadmap for a final deal between our nations. Watch.
As many of you are aware, both of our governments are hard at work on a trade agreement built on shared priorities, like creating new jobs, building durable supply chains, and achieving prosperity for our workers. In our meeting yesterday, Prime Minister Modi and I made very good progress on all of those points. And we are especially excited to formally announce that America and India have officially finalized the terms of reference for the trade negotiation. I think this is a vital step. Thank you. I believe this is a vital step toward realizing President Trump's and Prime Minister Modi's vision, because it sets a roadmap toward a final deal between our nations.
Meanwhile, markets ripping higher today. The Dow rising over 1,000 points midday after Treasury Secretary Bessent said trade de-escalation with China will eventually come. Look, huge volatility is expected to continue as investors wait to see how these trade deals all shake out. In another story, Dems getting the message that their stance on Abrigo Garcia isn't working. In fact, learning the hard way that their entire platform with regard to illegal immigration is a big, giant failure. A new Gallup poll showing only 25% of people have confidence in Dem leadership. Their response to this? Blame the messenger, blame the media. The reason we have such bad poll numbers? Due to free speech, due to not controlling the message enough. Watch.
I think the message that comes from the Democratic Party is a good message. The problem we've got, Alice, is that we have to depend upon the media to deliver it. When you got people saying we're not going to fact check, we're not going to worry about whether or not you're telling the truth, and just let the reports go out there, that's what's killing us as Democrats.
Yesterday, another group of Democrat congressmen flying to El Salvador to pay respect and homage to this illegal immigrant Abrigo Garcia, the alleged MS-13 gang member who Trump deported back to his home country. Dems flying all the way to El Salvador, again on your dime with your money. 4 more Dems arriving to El Salvador yesterday to fight for this illegal alien's rights to undeport an illegal immigrant gang member accused of beating his wife. Watch.
After a long day, we have arrived in El Salvador. I am here with several of my colleagues to demand that Donald Trump release Kilmar Abrego Garcia, union member, Maryland man who was wrongfully detained and deported.
We are here to release Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
We're also here to make a statement that this cannot be allowed and isn't allowed in our country.
This is a massive due process crisis in our country.
And why not? El Salvador is a beautiful place. Sandy beaches, sipping cocktails, luxury resorts, all on your dime. Forget the fact that the president of El Salvador said he's not sending this guy back. He belongs in El Salvador. Forget the fact that Americans don't want him to come back. Fox News sending a reporter out on the streets of Maryland to the same neighborhood where Abrigo Garcia was living, asking his neighbors and residents, what do you think? Should this guy come back? Should Trump have deported him or not? Roll the tape.
So there's this illegal immigrant. He was living in Maryland, designated MS-13 terrorist, and Donald Trump deported him. How does that make you feel?
I feel safer.
He gotta go. He gotta go.
Need to go. I mean, that's it.
But he was a father.
But he's still a terrorist.
Okay. I mean, but there's children living without fathers now.
He should have picked and choose, so he picked to be a terrorist instead of worrying about his children.
The Democrats, they want him back. They say he was wrongfully deported. He has a wife and a kid who's a citizen. They're calling this a national emergency. Is this a national emergency?
I wouldn't call it a national emergency. We got more things going on.
We have more things, more fish to fry.
I just found out about it, so I don't think so. What kind of national emergency? For what? What is the emergency for?
Ain't no national emergency, no.
He was accused of hitting his wife twice and was a suspected human smuggler. Was he wrongfully deported?
No. He need to go.
If he's a smuggler, yeah, he need to be deported.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
Your senator here, Chris Van Hollen, he flew to El Salvador where this guy was deported. He met with them, had lunch with them, had margaritas on the table. What's up with your senator?
I have no idea, but I do believe that was a waste of taxpayer dollars.
You agreeing with somebody whipping their wife, terrorizing where you live, then you don't need to live here either.
Senator Van Hollen, you need to come see me, Mr. Coley, because you doing like that. You need to take care of home before you go in other states.
He went to El Salvador.
Oh, that's another country, excuse me.
What has Senator Chris Van Hollen ever done for you?
Nothing.
Nothing. For me, nothing.
Nothing that I know of.
He ain't do me. I can admit that.
I've never even heard of this person.
Do you want Kilmar Abrego Garcia, this quote-unquote Maryland dad, living back in Maryland?
No. No.
No. No.
Not if he's doing trafficking, no. Why the want somebody like that back? No.
What is your message to the Democrats who really want him back in your community?
Why would you want that in my community? Bring it to your community and see how long you like it up there.
Leave them, or y'all go over there with them.
You're focused on the wrong thing.
If they illegal coming over here, send them back.
So after a whole week of Dems fighting for MS-13's right to be in this country, leadership seeing the latest polling on this and realizing they're losing bigly. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries conceding that President Trump is right about immigration. Trump was right about the Biden administration's open border policies and says he and his party were, in fact, too slow in tackling this problem. But that's about to change. We're going to start cracking down on the border. Yeah, too little, too late, Hakeem. Watch.
I think it was one of the main reasons that we lost the 2024 election was that we let millions of people stream across the border. So what is the Democratic plan to show people that we're serious about this problem?
Well, we definitely have to be clear that we believe that we should have a secure border. That's first and foremost. And I think we've repeatedly endeavored to make that clear throughout this Congress. We were slow to act as an administration and as a party on the southern border crisis, and it hurt us not simply with traditional Republican voters or swing voters, but in some segments of our own base communities and in communities of color, including right here in New York.
Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Would you ever believe these people again? For 5 years, they told us the border is closed. We have the safest border in history, they said. Yet 10 plus million illegals entered our country. In another story, Soros-funded district attorneys in these blue states are now dropping charges against these radical activists who were caught red-handed vandalizing and blowing up Teslas, caught firebombing Tesla dealerships. America's wokest DA, Mary Frances Moriarty, DA for Hennepin County, Minnesota, is declining to charge the Minnesota government employee Tim Walz's employee, this guy, 33-year-old Dylan Bryan Adams, who was caught in the act on camera vandalizing 6 Tesla vehicles, causing more than $20,000 in damage. The MPD, the Minneapolis Police Department, releasing a statement ripping their DA and their governor, Tim Walz, saying they provided more evidence than any DA could ever need to charge this man with multiple felonies. Police Chief Brian O'Hare said the Minneapolis Police Department did its job. It identified and investigated a crime trend, identified and arrested a suspect, and presented a case file to the Hennepin County Attorney Office for consideration of charges. This case impacted at least 6 different victims, totaling over $20,000 in damages. Any frustration related to the charging decision of the Hennepin County Attorney should be directed solely to her office. In another story, President Trump's considering a $5,000 stipend for every new American mother. The goal is to increase birth rates in this country. The New York Times reporting the White House reportedly discussing strategies to tackle declining birth and marriage rates. This is an issue that Elon Musk has been raising for years, saying if this trend continues, it'll lead to the end of the human race. Watch.
Well, there's a lot of things, I suppose, that I worry about, but and some of these things will seem esoteric to people. The birth rate is very low in almost every country, and it's something, unless that changes, civilization will disappear. America had the lowest birth rate, I believe, ever. That was last year. Places like Korea, the birth rate is 1/3 replacement rate. So that means in 3 generations, Korea will be 3 or 4% of its current size. And nothing seems to be turning that around. Humanity is dying. And people, it's just not something we evolved to react to. And I worry generally about the strength of America. America is the central column that holds up all of Western civilization. So if you've got the temple of Western civilization, America is the central column. If that column fails, it's all over. You can't run off to New Zealand or some other place. It's over. So either we strengthen that column and make sure America is strong and will be strong for a long time, or that roof's coming down.
U.S. birth rates have in fact been declining for years. 2023 saw a record low of 55 births for every 1,000 women. Let me know what you think about this. Personally, I think it's a good idea to promote the nuclear family, reward new families, help them. I think it's a great idea. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.